First, the latest appears to show that Don McGahn has submitted a letter basically saying he cannot appear because he's going to respect the president's claim to prevent him from testifying. What does that mean?
Well, it means that we have to enforce a subpoena. I think that it's clear that the president's obviously trying to obstruct this testimony, just as he's trying to obstruct the presentation of financial records by Mazars and others. And I think in court, we are going to probably win again, because I think courts routinely uphold our constitutional system of checks and balances and the rights of Congress to conduct oversight.
Yeah, you won a very big victory today pertaining to your committee and its subpoenas, in which the judge said, look, basically, this is Congress's constitutional prerogative. I'm not going to sit here and second guess unless they're doing something obviously wildly on its face out of bounds, and this does not meet that. Were you satisfied with that decision?
Yes, we believe it was a resounding victory for the law and the principle that nobody is above the law, not even the President of the United States. Another issue which came up is that the President actually sought to stay the order, and the judge refused the stay. And so I think that at this point, the committee intends to, under the leadership of Chairman Cummings, enforce the order once it becomes final in a few days, and hopefully we'll have some financial records. I
want to ask you about this new reporting about Michael Cohen's testimony for House Intelligence Committee and what it would mean. But before I get to that, a sort of broader question here. Here's my read on what's happening. Democrats don't want to impeach the president generally, or they don't want to be seen to getting out ahead of the facts. There's reticence there. The president is obstructing at every step, and that is leading to more and more Democrats growing frustrated with the current posture and moving towards starting an impeachment inquiry. Is that a correct read of the vector of movement right now?
Possibly, but there's been a difference of opinion on this impeachment issue for some time. However, one thing that I want to make very clear, Chris, is that the caucus is entirely unified on this issue of whether or not there should be checks and balances with regard to the president, whether we should be able to enforce the subpoena with regard to Don McGahn, whether or not we should be able to see the full unredacted Mueller report, whether we should be able to see the president's tax records, and of course these financial records and the money laundering records from Deutsche Bank. All of these issues are ones where Democrats are 100% united that we cannot allow the president to obstruct the people's oversight of the executive branch.
There's reporting tonight that one of the items contained in the transcript that I think is about to be released, I don't know if it's out yet in its entirety, from the House Intelligence Committee's testimony they took from Michael Cohen. The Cohen says that Jay Sekulow, the president's lawyer, told him to lie before Congress. How big a deal is that?
If that's true, that's a big deal. Obviously, you know, Mr. Sekulow is a lawyer himself, and he has certain ethical constraints that he would obviously have violated if he counsels someone else to lie. But on top of that, he would potentially be suborning perjury, and that's very serious.
Do you feel like you understand the entirety of the facts before us? And I ask this because you just mentioned a whole bunch of things that the caucus is unified about not letting them obscure, obstruct, deny things. But just the public facts as they already presently exist in daylight, do you, Congressman, personally feel like you have a synthesized version and you can sit down with a constituent and give them a 60-second version?
I might be able to give the cliff notes of the Mueller report, but there are a lot of unanswered questions. I'll just give you one very broad area of inquiry that none of us have answers on, which is, you know, there are 14 ongoing matters that were referred by Special Counsel Mueller to other jurisdictions, and I think 11 of them were completely redacted within the Mueller report. And so there might be all kinds of other wrongdoing that is being investigated currently that we have no knowledge of. We don't know the subject matter, nor do we know the targets. This is very important, and from an oversight standpoint, we must know what those matters are about. One other issue which is a subject of great inquiry around here is the counterintelligence information contained within the Special Counsel's investigation. We still haven't received those findings, despite despite the fact that Chairman Schiff and Ranking Member Nunes, in a joint bipartisan manner, requested this information. We must have that information so that we can protect our national security.
All right, Congressman Roger